Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over NVIDIA. Let's talk about what is happening to NVIDIA, what we can expect moving forward, and of course, all that good stuff as per usual. So ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, if you enjoy my technical analysis, thoughts on the charts, etc. Well, again, I do share my thoughts with my members every single day as the market is trading, as the market is open. So definitely check that out. That link is, of course, down below in the description of the video. So definitely check it out if you're interested. For just $3 a month, all my Tesla updates, options flow, etc., technical analysis, and broader market updates for just $3 a month. $5 a month gives you access to the second tier, which includes all my NVIDIA updates as well. Third tier, which is $7 USD a month, includes everything I just mentioned, plus non-Tesla, non-NVIDIA stocks when there's something worth sharing, of course. The best one was actually Warner Bros. Obviously, this is it's a bit of an outlier, don't get me wrong. You know, it's not going to happen every single trade or stock that I find, but this was a pretty good one. Let's just say that. I was telling members about this thing right underneath $12 per share. It's at 16. So yeah, that was a good one, just to say the least. Obviously, that's an exception, but hey, it is what it is. Pretty happy with that nonetheless. But nonetheless, yeah, jump it. Definitely check it out if you're interested. That link is, of course, down below. Would love to have you there. But yeah, jumping into NVIDIA. Let's talk about NVIDIA. What is it doing? What we can expect moving forward. So down about 0.1%, we'll say on the day. Very humble day today. Closing at 177 and change, which compared to the market is going to be a bit of an underperformance. But is this just the dead cat, right? This is the main question where we have to be asking ourselves, is this just a dead cat bounce, right? Unfortunately, right now, it still looks like a dead cat. I'm going to remove the fibs for now, right? And why do I still think this looks like a dead cat? Well, again, you have to remember, when we were making our way all the way up here like this, we were making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, right? We were constantly making higher highs, higher lows. And then we started kind of stalling out a little bit. And then we kind of broke down a bit. But then we ultimately broke this low here, right? This low was the low that we made this pivot point. This low was the pivot we used to make that fresh all-time high, right? Ultimately. So this low became strong. This low became something that the bears or the bulls do not want to lose and the bears want to break. And they broke it. Despite it didn't close below it, they still broke down below, right? That still damaged the technicals. We obviously rose up right into the green Fibonacci's I mentioned here. And then we made a lower low. So now what we're doing is low, fresh lower low, lower high pretty much. Equal / lower high, or, you know, it's pretty close, but nonetheless, right? And then a lower low. And this could just be another lower high. That's the problem. That's the scary part, I guess, if you can say, from a bullish perspective, right? Because this could just be a lower high. Again, it's like the Fibonacci's, the exact same thing I did last time. Take the Fibonacci's and look at that. Where did we reject? Almost to perfection at the green Fibonacci's again. Like I mentioned, I wouldn't be surprised to see a cleaner retest. I said that yesterday. We got the cleaner retest today. It was a pretty quick one, but it got it nonetheless. And then we rejected right at it, and that's kind of the main concern right now. So to make it really simple, right, what do the bulls need to do to reclaim bullish momentum on NVIDIA? Because yeah, you can make an argument bullish momentum exists. We have stochastic, right? The EMAs are actually still technically overall bullish, despite the 921 being cross bearish, but they're still above the 50, which you can absolutely make an argument that they are still technically overall bullish. But the structure is the problem. So the bulls, what they need to do, number one, well, they need to surpass these green Fibonacci's, which is about 180 to 181. That needs to not only get back above, but held above, not just go above slightly, kind of like what we did here, and then just, you know, obviously still end up closing below. But they need to hold above this. They need to get above this and start closing candles above this level. If they can do that, that's step number one. Step number two, unfortunately, requires a bit more work, but that's essentially breaking all-time highs at the end of the day, right? Breaking all-time highs. Why? Because that really then tells us the fact that unless it becomes a very bearish liquidity sweep, like, you know, a bull trap, it tells us that, well, we're making fresh highs. It removes this potential lower low, lower high type scenario, if you will, and we're good to go. So that's going to be something that the bulls really need to accomplish, essentially, right? To really convince me the fact that this is not just another dead cat. This is not just another bull trap, because as of right now, it kind of looks like one, right? So let's continue monitoring it. Let's continue seeing, you know, what actually happens with this moving forward. But definitely all eyes on these green fibs and pretty much previous all-time highs, right? Those are the main two levels the bulls need to break. Otherwise, technically speaking, at the very least, I expect us to come down for a potential double bottom retest or another low, right? Another low to my target down closer to 150s, right? So whichever one is, you know, happens, I guess. So that's going to be what I'll be looking for. So again, short-term resistance and what the bulls need to break, 181 to 180 and essentially all-time highs. The flip side, support, or in other words, what the bears want to break, right? We have support pretty much where the EMAs are, this 174 region that I mentioned many times. Yeah, that's going to be support. Definitely watch for about 174 support. Obviously, support here, resistance here, support here. Yeah, potential support coming up right here as well. So that'll be the first main level as support. If we start cracking below that, that'll be a bit of a concern. So that's, you know, something you'll have to watch out for from a bullish perspective or a bearish perspective, really. If we lose 174, then obviously we'll look at, you know, very intermediate support will be like like 172 roughly, but that's a small support in my opinion. The main one I'll be definitely looking at is going to be 169, 170. If we lose 169, 170 again, that will be obviously very bearish, kind of like the opposite of the bulls breaking above, excuse me, fresh all-time highs, like, 184 or whatever it is, right? So that's kind of the opposite of the side of the spectrum. Above this, bulls can get control. Below this, bears can get control. So that's going to be the two main levels to watch for. But I do personally lean more bearish than I do bullish, which is difficult to say, mainly because I think the market still looks pretty decent despite some bearish divergences emerging. But Nvidia just kind of, I don't know. It's just not showing the strength we need. It's showing the strength, but again, it needs to break bearish structure, because again, we're just in bearish structure still, right? And as far as I'm aware, this is just another lower high into potentially a lower low, or at the very least equal low down here. So let's continue monitoring it day by day, week by week, right? But that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And the semi industry is very wild, because certain stocks, like in the semi sector, like MU is actually doing pretty well here. I think MU has been doing quite well, actually. Yeah, beautiful move on MU. Look at this absolute gorgeous move over here. AVGO absolutely performing. So these bad boys are like propping up the market, I guess you can say, or at least the chip market, if you will, for like SMH indicator or index. While you have stocks like AMD, Nvidia, getting some moves here and there, don't get me wrong, but definitely nowhere near as strong as those ones right now, at least right now. So that's kind of the complicated part, if you will, of the SMH indicator. But yeah, so, specifically for Nvidia, I definitely watch for those levels up and down. And then from there, we'll of course reassess if anything gets finally broken to either direction. In terms of options flow, the bulls definitely dominating. 16 million confirmed bullish flow, 5 million confirmed bearish flow. But overall, towards the end of the day, you can see, we started the day off very bullish, but then towards the end of the day, you can see obviously a little bit more red slowly trickling in, if you will. So bears are, they're coming in a little bit more aggressively here towards the end of the day, worth mentioning. So let's see what this actually amounts to. Next week, we do have, of course, rate cut decision. So that could be a pretty spicy week coming up. And we have triple witching next week as well. So we could get some fireworks next week, up and down, to be completely honest. So the volatility can absolutely return as the VIX finally finds some life. That's been getting kind of crushed here. But yeah, that's kind of all I got for you, right? In terms of the overall perspective. In terms of Qs and the overall broader market, I've been mentioning how the Qs are bullish above 575, and we're above 575, guys. We're above 575. The Qs are looking pretty good. Even if you bought this 575 retest and up right now, up 1.5%, I guess, but hey, it's still pretty good. So that's going to be something to watch for on the Qs moving forward, right? Again, above that 575, I think they're pretty bullish. We did break all-time highs on the Qs as well, so even better would be holding. I would say about the mid to low 580s would be even better, which is kind of what we did today, actually. So if we can continue doing that, the market is still undeniably bullish. Now, like I said, there is still this sort of bearish divergence looming across the market, right, where market's going up and to the right, while the RSI, MACD going down to the right. So there is a concern for bearish divergences, so that's going to be the main thing to watch. But in turn, until key levels are broken, such as maybe going back down well below all-time highs, losing 575, and especially all the way back down at 560, each one gets progressively more cautious, I guess you can say. So as of right now, the bulls are still in control. But if we start losing those key levels, then yeah, maybe we start getting a potential retrace. But yeah, as of now, the bulls are still in control. It is what it is. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.